difference is, being lonely is a negative and upsetting feeling, kind of heading towards like depression. Whereas being alone is an observation of your current situation. Now, forgive me, I do have some notes, so you may see me glancing down. I'm going to try not to read them and take from the notes and give you my direct, instant thoughts. So bear with me. Lonely and sad is sometimes on two levels. So firstly, to be around people doesn't stop you from feeling lonely, but it can distract you momentarily. The other is kind of like you're perceived that lonely and sad as a bad thing, because sometimes sad equals pain, and that's normal. That's normal. Pain is actually good, but we leave that for another day. All right. We want to stop the pain. It's generally what happens. We want to stop the pain. We don't like the pain. So another way to look at it is sadness is a lack of perceived options. Now, this is something I found a few months back. A lack of perceived options. All right, so sadness is basically not knowing a way to figure something out. Which, when I scratched my head and I pondered that, I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. What exactly does that mean? And it means that we can educate ourselves to find options, maybe make a plan, join some groups, visit friends, and work on projects that we really want to do and get involved with. So that helps us move forward. And the sadness part, like I said, partially is good because it shows that we're alive, we're feeling, we're being authentic and humble, and all those words that you want to use. But pain is real. If you can go back to thinking about when your dog died or your hamster died, that no matter what you did or what anybody said, you still felt that pain for some time. Depending on how much you loved that animal, that person, depending on how much you felt that pain. And you had to go through it. You can't not go through it. Now, we'll get on to something else in a moment, but feeling that pain, feeling that pain is really raw and really sore, and we try all sorts of things to stop it. But you've got to accept it. You've got to accept it, that it's real, and just ride with it. And you'll get to a point where you're somewhere between numb and, just not feeling your best. And that's okay. That's okay. That's still part of life. It's not desirable. It's not the best outcome, but it's still part of life. And we're not always all happy singing and dancing fairies. So to accept that is really difficult, but it's really, really good at the same time. Also, you got to remember that feeling bad is only for a length of time. It's not there forever. Like I said about the hamster or your dog or something in the past, you've got evidence that you're going to get through it, that you're going to get over it, that you're going to live through it. And personally, I kind of think sometimes that every time somebody in your life dies or somebody in your life is gone, a little tiny piece of you dies as well. And that can make you feel a little bit hollow. But this is where you need to embrace the beauty of life. Like when a child is born, somebody gets married, a young person does something brilliant and amazing. Those positive, happy, brilliant things will outweigh by far the negativity. Because there was times where I felt really, really sad and crappy and thought about my life, what am I going to do? And those are really dark times. But after the time is gone, after time is spent, after time is moved forward, and you start picking your life up again, and you get momentum of good things happening, and you see more good things, random acts of kindness, humanity, slowly but surely, you're able to see, if you choose to, you're able to see lots of happy, positive things that lift you back up. And then over time, you should see that life is worth enjoying, engaging, and being happy. Yes, you get knocked down, but it's about how quick you can rebound and get back up and embracing that life and taking life and doing stuff with your life. Because sometimes if you get knocked down once and then again and again, 3, 4, 5 bad things happening in a row, it can be really, really hard to imagine that there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's hard to imagine there's going to be a time without this pain. And you seem to think this is going to last forever. Where is there any light at this tunnel? But you have evidence. You have those evidence from the past that this will ease up. Otherwise, all our parents would have killed themselves. All our parents have suffered their own parents going. And so, being mature and grown up and responsible, you see your own parents dealing with the loss of their parents or grandparents. And so you know it is heartbreaking, but you can get through it. All right, you've got evidence. You have evidence that you will get through it and that there is a lot more to life. So we want to kind of hold in our heads that, yes, there are some dark times and there's going to be dark times ahead. But there's much, much, much more light, happy, joyful, embracing, living lifetimes ahead of you. And that's the hardest bit to remember. Okay, what else we got here? I talked about the cliche of, and saying it out loud, that time is your friend. Time to reflect and things like that. What else? You know when somebody is younger than you, that they to do something you don't want to do, and you say it's character building. Now, when I wrote these notes and I thought character building, I thought that sounds crap. Who wants to hear that going through trauma of losing somebody is character building? I thought that's a crappy thing to hear. Nobody wants to hear that. But like I said, if you're with a young person and you say, no, look, you have to do this. You have to go to school. You have to do your homework. You have to, I don't know, complete and finish what you started. Because it's character building. You know, like young men that go, or young women that go in the army, you know, and it's hard work. And they just want to quit. They want to quit. But the rest of their teammates and hopefully their family will support them, say, no, just finish it. Trust me, just finish this. You can do it, just finish it. And you'll be grateful afterwards. And I felt that climbing some of those mountains. I thought, I'm too old for this. I'm too unfit for this. I'm never going to get to the top. But as you know, I just kept going and taking breaks and slowly but surely put one foot in front of the other. You know how the story goes. But that character building is also the same as that evidence that you can make it. All right? So encouraging young people to push through that pain is really well worthwhile and rewarding because it gives people evidence, proof, living proof that you can do these hard things. Okay. And it kind of becomes like a superpower. You kind of get resilient to the smaller ones. You know, like I don't know, maybe you break a finger, or break a toe, and it's painful and it's crap and it's, but eventually you get through it. And you've got the evidence and you've got the resilience that you're going to get through it. And hopefully I don't want to say in a quicker and quicker time, but definitely making strides and resilience and having that knowledge. I find that every time I leave a job, I don't get sacked. I think I've only ever been sacked once. But every time you leave a job and you think, oh God, is this the right thing to do? You kind of get a bit immune to it. Now, I'm not saying people should get immune to suffering and loss, but you do slowly build up a resilience, especially as you get older and it's coming and you're going to prepare yourself for it, because sooner or later, as you get older, you realize people and pets and loved ones do leave your life, whether they emigrate to Australia, whether they die, or whether they decide that they're no longer be in contact with you because you and them fall out, you don't see eye to eye. That is a fact of life that you kind of get some resilience towards and preparedness towards as you get older. Now, I'm not saying it gets easier as you get older, maybe harder, because you have less and less support around you as you get older. And so probably harder the older you get. And also you have less distractions the older you get. When you're young and you've fallen out with your lover, and then, there's maybe a few more people at the disco and your friend grabs you out. Disco? What am I? Like in the 80s? Yes. in the 80s and 90s, you'd go to a disco, you'd meet other people and, you'd get through it quicker because you were younger and resilient. But as you get older, sometimes there's a balance between having that evidence and that proof and resistance, yet also having less distractions and less support. It can also be harder getting older. All right, so what have I got here? What's my last kind of notes? So yeah, I don't know if this one is quite as relevant, but imagine if you could have a proper conversation with a toddler. I know this is just theoretical, but the toddler falls over again and again and again, hurts his hands, hurts his knees or her knees, and thinks, well, I just crawl and roll around. Why should I stand up and walk? I keep failing, but you have the conversation, this theoretical conversation with a toddler saying, it's worth it. Keep going. And yet we've all been through it. We've all been a toddler. Not that we can remember, but we've all been through that difficult stage, even as a toddler. So from the very early ages, we've had some knowledge and evidence that we can get through things given time. There we go, another cliche, time. All right, okay. So that's kind of it, really. The difference between being lonely can feel very sad and very negative, but it gives you a lot of character. It teaches you that you got to rely on yourself and you need to build up some calluses and build up some mental strength to be able to get through these things. Because what's the alternative? You go insane or you do something silly and then, you upset all the rest of your family. So building up some mental strength is where you realize when you're coming out of it that each one gets a little bit more, a bit more strength and muscle prowess in your brain. So being lonely is actually, now I'm an extrovert and I love people and I love being around people. And I don't know whether it's because I was a middle child or what, but I really get charged up being around people. And so through this breakup with my wife, and it's been, almost a year now, living on my own in a small space has been the biggest challenge of my life. And I'm slowly realizing it's become an asset. It's become my superpower. It's become me choosing to be happy with my self on my own and enjoying that time alone. So now I can read all the books I want to read. I can do all the photography I want to do. I can go walk up a hill anytime. I can wander into town. I can do whatever the heck I like when I want to do it. So for me, this has been kind of like a baptism of fire. As much as it's been bloody hard work, it really has made me a stronger, better person for it. I now no longer need to seek that validation from a lover. You know, it's all from inside now. So that's been the best thing for me. It's turned me into a stronger person, and hopefully I'll be a better, more supportive, more understanding man in the future for other people. So, being lonely turns into being alone, turns into becoming stronger individual and more, what's the word I'm looking for? More resilient and more independent, I suppose. Independent for validation. So I feel really good now. I feel like I've, reached another milestone. And I'm grateful. As awful as it sounds, I'm grateful for this lesson to become a stronger, better person. And that's what I seek to do. I seek to make myself better and better and better. Like that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Improving my mental abilities, improving my biases, improving, myself as a whole as a man. It is not easy, but it's something we should all attain. We should all work towards, work towards improving ourselves. So that's where I am today. I'm grateful for my breakup. As crazy as it sounds, I've become a stronger and better person. And then I can help other people in the future be stronger and better. So lonely and alone. For me, it's been a roller coaster, and it's made me a better person. I now like and enjoy being alone, and I don't feel lonely. That has subsided completely, because all I do is all the things that interest me and excite me and make me happy. And so I don't feel lonely because I'm using my time to do what I want. I don't have to ask the other person or think how the other person's feeling or read between the lines or try and mind read what's going on and what I should be doing or listening out for banging and passive aggressiveness. There's none of that. There's just peace and happiness because I can do what the heck I like. And if I want to pick my nose or scratch my ear or rub my belly, I can do that. And nobody cares. Nobody knows. Well, nobody can see. And that's great. That's fine. I don't have to hold in my farts. I don't have to hold in my burps. I can do whatever I like when I like. And it is very much feeling of freedom. It's lovely. No doubt I will look for maybe a like-minded individual in the future to share my life with. But like my granddad, who's 98 years old now, says that we come into this life alone and we go out alone. I thought, oh, that's a very sad, horrible thing to think. But he's been building up resilience, and he's lived on his own for a long time because, his wives die eventually. And he's still going. He's got fantastic genetics. What can I say? 98 years old. And he still likes to drink a pint. But there we go. That's it for this one. And if you have any questions or any concerns, put them down below. Did you know that most of you guys aren't subscribing? It would really help me out if you'd like this video, if it gives you value. If not, ignore it. Please like the video and subscribe to stay up to date with these other videos. It would really help. All right, that's it for me now, guys and gals. I'll see you next video. Take care. I love you lots, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.